I've been sending $50 every Wednesday for 8 months. Not because I'm rich. Not because I don't have my own bills. I send it because family helps family, and Sarah's back pain is real. Real enough that she can't lift her 6-year-old daughter without wincing. Real enough that she sleeps propped up on 3 pillows every night. Real enough that the doctor said surgery is the only option left. 25%. That's how far we'd gotten toward the goal. Uncle Mike had been matching my 50. Mom sent what she could when her Social Security came in. Even my husband's cousin in Denver, who we see maybe once a year, had chipped in 100 here and there. We were all pulling in the same direction, rowing the same boat, because that's what you do when someone you love is drowning. The last family gathering was in September. Sarah's daughter Emma was there, naturally. 6 years ago, gap-toothed smile, wearing a pink dress that was probably too small, but she loved it anyway. And clutched in her arms, like always, was that Barbie doll. Not just any Barbie. The one with the long blonde hair that Emma had braided and unbraided so many times it looked like straw. The one missing a shoe because life happens to toys. The one with the slightly chewed arm because Emma used to teeth on it as a toddler. I remember watching Emma that day, sitting in the corner of the living room, having what looked like a very serious conversation with that doll. Moving its arms, changing its position, whispering secrets that only 6-year-olds and their most trusted friends know. Sarah was on the couch, a heating pad pressed against her lower back, but she was smiling. Actually smiling, watching her daughter play. Sarah had said, nodding toward Emma, "That thing goes everywhere with us. Bath time, grocery store, bed. I swear sometimes I think she loves that doll more than she loves me." I'd laughed and replied, "That's what childhood is for." Sarah adjusted the heating pad and said, "Yeah. I just want to be able to pick her up again without feeling like my spine is going to snap." That was 3 months ago. 3 months of steady $50 donations. 3 months of watching that percentage creep upward. 3 months of believing we were all working towards something good. Yesterday, I was scrolling through Instagram. Nothing unusual. Just the normal parade of food photos, gym selfies, and political opinions nobody asked for. Then I saw Sarah's post. Video. Posted 10 hours earlier. And I almost scrolled past it because the thumbnail looked like a campfire or something innocent. But then I heard the sound. Screaming. A child screaming in the background of a video. Not playful screaming. Not laughter. The kind of screaming that makes your chest tight and your hands shake. I clicked. The video was 11 seconds long. 11 seconds of a Barbie doll burning in what looked like a metal trash can. The plastic melting, the hair curling and disappearing, the familiar pink dress turning black and crumbling. And behind the camera, behind Sarah's steady hand holding the phone was Emma. Crying. Screaming. Pleading. Emma's voice came through clearly, "Please mommy, please don't burn her. Please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." The caption read, "Eat all the cookies and this is what happens." Before we continue with today's story, if you're enjoying what you've heard so far, please hit that subscribe button. Every new subscriber helps me keep sharing these inspiring tales that touch your day. Thank you for your support. I watched it 3 times. Not because I wanted to. Because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Each time, Emma's voice got harder to ignore. Each time, that melting plastic looked more like cruelty. I sat there on my couch, phone in my hand, staring at that video. My weekly $50 transfer was scheduled for the next morning. Automatic. Set it and forget it. But I couldn't forget this. I commented, "What happened? Need more context." Sarah replied within minutes, "She ate all the cookies I baked. Every single one. So I taught her a lesson." That was it. No details about how many cookies. No explanation of why burning the doll was the appropriate response. No acknowledgement that her daughter was traumatized in the background of a video she posted for the world to see. I deleted my comment. Then I sent her a private message, "I can't keep donating after seeing that video. What you did to Emma was too extreme." The response came back so fast I wondered if she'd been waiting for someone to challenge her, "You're a dumbass. Mind your own business." Then I was blocked. I sat there staring at my phone screen, trying to process what had just happened. This was the same woman I'd been supporting for 8 months. The same woman who'd cried in my kitchen when the doctor first explained the surgery. The same woman who'd thanked me, genuinely thanked me, for helping her family. And now she was calling me a dumbass for questioning why she'd filmed herself destroying her daughter's most precious possession. When my husband came home that evening, I showed him the video. I had to. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about his sister, his niece, and his family. He watched it once. Didn't react much. Just handed my phone back and said, "Yeah, she told me about this earlier." I stared at him. "She told you?" He shrugged. Emma ate a whole batch of cookies Sarah made for her book club. Sarah was pissed. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So she burned her daughter's favorite toy? My husband's response was casual, "It's just a doll." Just a doll? He looked at me like I was being dramatic. Sarah's body is worth more than some plastic toy. She needs this surgery. You know how much pain she's in. I wanted to argue. Wanted to explain that this wasn't about choosing between Sarah's back and Emma's doll. This was about a grown woman traumatizing a 6-year-old and filming it for social media. But I could see in his eyes that he'd already made his choice. Blood was thicker than water, and I was just water. That night, I canceled the automatic transfer. $50 every Wednesday, suddenly available for something else. Something that wouldn't fund the medical bills of someone who thought burning a child's beloved toy was an appropriate punishment for eating cookies. But I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Emma. About the way she'd held that doll at the family gathering. About how she'd probably gone to bed that night without her most trusted friend for the first time in years. I thought about Sarah, too. About the heating pad and the sleepless nights and the way she'd wince when she laughed too hard. About the 25% we'd raised and the 75% still needed. And I thought about my husband, lying next to me, breathing steadily, probably not thinking about any of this at all. The next morning, I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table with my laptop. I wanted to see if the video was still up. Maybe Sarah had realized how it looked. Maybe she'd deleted it. It was still there. But now it had comments. "This is abuse. That poor baby. Someone call CPS. What kind of mother does this?" Mixed in with the criticism were supporters. People defended Sarah's right to parent how she saw fit. People say kids today are too soft, too entitled, and too protected from consequences. But the majority were horrified. And I realized I wasn't the only one who'd seen something deeply wrong in that 11-second video. I found myself typing a comment before I could stop myself. "This is my sister-in-law. I've been donating to her surgery fund for months. Not anymore." I posted it. Then immediately regretted it. Then felt a surge of something I couldn't quite name. Relief? Vindication? Truth? Within an hour, my phone was buzzing. Text messages from family members who'd seen my comment. Most were supportive. A few were critical. Uncle Mike sent a simple message, "Saw the video. Stopping donations too." Mom called and said, "I can't believe she posted that. What was she thinking?" I told her honestly, "I don't know. But I can't keep funding someone who treats their child like that." Mom asked, "Is your husband okay with this?" I looked toward the living room where he was watching TV, the volume louder than necessary. "He thinks I'm overreacting." Mom's voice was firm, "You're not overreacting." That video made me sick. That afternoon, Sarah's husband called. Not Sarah herself. Her husband. Without any greeting, he demanded, "You need to take down that comment. You're hurting Sarah's fundraising." My response was immediate, "Good." His voice got harder. "She's in pain. Real pain. This surgery could change her life." I shot back, "And what about Emma? What about the pain she's in?" He was getting angry now. "It's a fucking doll." I matched his energy, it was Emma's fucking doll. He hung up. That evening, my husband finally brought it up. We were eating dinner in silence when he set down his fork and looked at me. "You're really going to let this affect Sarah's surgery?" I put down my own fork. "I'm going to let Sarah's choices affect my donations." He tried to minimize it. One mistake doesn't erase 8 months of support. I wasn't backing down. Filming yourself burning your daughter's favorite toy isn't a mistake. It's a choice. And posting it online is another choice. My husband defended his sister, she was frustrated. Emma had been acting out all week. So you burn what she loves most? And film it? And post it? Then he said something that cut deep, you don't have kids. You don't understand. That landed like a slap. We'd been trying for 2 years. 2 years of negative pregnancy tests, doctor visits, and hope followed by disappointment. He knew exactly how much that comment would hurt. I stood up from the table. You're right. I don't have kids. But I know what trauma looks like. And I know what love looks like. And what I saw in that video wasn't love. I left the kitchen. Left him sitting there with his half-eaten dinner and his unwavering loyalty to his sister. The next few days were tense. We spoke in practical terms only. Pass the salt. Did you pay the electric bill? What time will you be home? Nothing deeper. Nothing about Sarah or Emma or the donation I'd stopped. But the video kept spreading. Someone had shared it with a parenting group. Then to a child advocacy page. Then to local news. Sarah's Instagram went private, but screenshots were circulating. The video was out there, permanent, a digital record of 11 seconds that would follow her family forever. I found myself checking the fundraising page obsessively. The percentage had stalled at 25%. No new donations in 3 days. Comments were disabled, but the damage was done. Then I got a message from someone I didn't recognize. A woman named Jennifer, I saw your comment about the video. I'm a teacher. I've reported this to CPS. Thought you should know. CPS. Child Protective Services. I hadn't thought about that. Hadn't considered that my comment might escalate things beyond family drama and donation disputes. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me felt vindicated. Someone official was going to look into this. Someone trained to recognize abuse would determine if what Sarah did crossed a line. But part of me felt sick. CPS investigations were serious. They could remove Emma from her home. They could tear apart a family that was already struggling. I didn't tell my husband about the message. Didn't tell anyone. I just carried it around like a secret weight, wondering if I'd started something I couldn't control. A week later, Sarah's husband called again. His voice was cold. CPS came by. Asked a lot of questions. Interviewed Emma. I asked cautiously, and? They're opening an investigation. Thank you for that. I tried to defend myself, I didn't. He cut me off, you started this. You and your righteous fucking comment. I didn't call CPS. His anger was clear, but you lit the fuse. He was right. I had lit the fuse. But Sarah had provided the dynamite. That night, I told my husband about the CPS visit. He was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, you could have prevented this. How? By staying out of it. By keeping your mouth shut. I challenged him, and letting her get away with traumatizing a 6-year-old? By supporting family when they need it most. I was supporting family. I was supporting Emma. He was firm in his position, Emma's not your family. Sarah is. Emma's your niece. And Sarah's my sister. We were at an impasse. 2 people who'd once agreed on everything are now divided by 11 seconds of video and $50 a week. The investigation took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of whispered phone calls and family meetings I wasn't invited to. 3 weeks of my husband growing more distant and more resentful. Then the call came. Not from Sarah or her husband. From my mother-in-law. She said coldly, CPS closed the case. No abuse was found. Are you happy now? I wasn't happy. I was relieved that Emma was okay, but I wasn't happy. The video still existed. The trauma still happened. The fact that it didn't meet the legal definition of abuse didn't erase what I'd seen. I told her, I'm glad Emma's safe. My mother-in-law's response was sharp, she was always safe. You just couldn't mind your own business. I tried to explain, Her mother filmed herself burning her favorite toy. That's not safe. That's not normal. And there it was again, you don't have children. You don't understand. The trump card. The conversation ended. The implication was that my opinion didn't matter because my womb was empty. After the call, I sat in my car in the parking lot of the grocery store and cried. Not for Sarah or her surgery or the donations I'd stopped. I cried for Emma, who'd learned that the things she loved could be taken away and destroyed as punishment. I cried for the family dinners that would never be the same. I cried for the marriage that felt like it was cracking under the weight of divided loyalties. But mostly, I cried because I knew I'd done the right thing, and it had cost me everything. The fundraising page was eventually deleted. Sarah found a different way to raise money, through her church and local community groups. People who didn't know about the video. People who only saw a woman in pain who needed help. She got the surgery 6 months later. Full success, according to the family update I received from my mother-in-law. Sarah could lift Emma again. Could sleep without a heating pad. Could laugh without wincing. I was genuinely happy for her. Pain is pain, and nobody deserves to suffer physically. But I still couldn't forget the video. Still couldn't unsee Emma's tears or unhear her pleading. My husband and I tried counseling. 3 sessions of sitting in uncomfortable chairs while a therapist asked us to examine our communication patterns and underlying values. But you can't counsel away a fundamental disagreement about what constitutes acceptable behavior toward a child. We're still together. Still married. Still sharing a bed, a mortgage, and a life. But something broke that day I watched that video. Something that counseling couldn't fix and time couldn't heal. We don't talk about Sarah much anymore. Don't discuss family gatherings or donation requests or the way Emma clings to her new doll, a cheap replacement that she treats like it might disappear at any moment. Sometimes I wonder if I overreacted. If I let my emotions cloud my judgment. If I prioritized my own moral outrage over family harmony and a woman's legitimate medical needs. But then I remember Emma's voice in that video. The way she screamed please and I'm sorry while her mother filmed her beloved toy turning to ash. And I know that some things are more important than family loyalty. Some things are more important than keeping the peace. Like teaching a 6-year-old that her feelings matter. That her treasures deserve respect. That love doesn't come with the threat of destruction. I kept the $50. Every Wednesday, it goes into a savings account I've labeled Emma's Fund. I don't know what I'll use it for yet. Maybe her college someday. Maybe a trust fund she can access when she's older. Maybe nothing at all. But it's there. Growing quietly, week by week. A small rebellion against the idea that family means never holding each other accountable. A promise to a little girl who learned too young that the things she loves can be taken away by the people who are supposed to protect her. The video is still out there somewhere. Archived on someone's phone, saved to someone's hard drive, remembered by everyone who saw it. 11 seconds that revealed more about a family than years of holiday photos and social media posts. And I'm still here. Still married to a man who thinks I chose wrong. Still sending $50 a week to an account that may never be opened. Still believe that sometimes the right thing is also the hardest thing. Still remembering a 6-year-old girl crying for her Barbie, and a mother who thought that was something worth filming. Some lessons are too expensive to learn twice. Some boundaries are too important to compromise. Some silences are too loud to ignore. $50 a week. That's what it cost to learn who I really was. That's what it cost to discover that my husband and I had different definitions of family, different standards for love, and different ideas about what children deserve. It wasn't the money that mattered. It was never about the money. It was about the moment you realized that standing up for what's right sometimes means standing alone. Protecting the vulnerable sometimes means being called the villain. That love sometimes looks like stopping the support that enables harm. Emma is 7 now. I see her at family gatherings, playing with her replacement doll, smiling but cautious. She doesn't remember me as the aunt who stopped the donations. She probably doesn't remember me at all. But I remember her. I remember her voice in that video, and I remember the choice I made to listen to it. Some people would say I chose wrong. That I valued a toy over a woman's health. That I broke up a family over 11 seconds of video. But I know what I saw. I know what I heard. And I know that sometimes the smallest acts of cruelty reveal the largest truths about who we really are. The surgery was successful. The donations were stopped. The video was deleted but not forgotten. The marriage survived but was scarred. And somewhere in a savings account, $50 accumulate every Wednesday, earning interest and gathering purpose, waiting for the day when a little girl grows up and learns that someone was listening when she cried for her Barbie. That someone cared enough to say no when everyone else said yes. That someone believed her tears mattered more than family peace. That someone chose her, even when it cost them everything.